Hey guys, EDDBUD here, and welcome to another episode of the Running News. If you enjoy these episodes and you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below, which will give you notifications of when we launch those new videos. It really helps the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like. Story 1, Adidas looks set to be selling Reebok. So back in 2005, Adidas bought Reebok as a brand. I think it was about 3.8 billion, so it's not chump change, but now it seems to value the brand at far less and is looking to offload it. The CEO of Adidas recently said that they're working on a sale and hope to have it completed by March of 2021. It does sound like either a US or a Chinese sportswear manufacturer are looking to buy the brand, so let's hope that they continue to develop those great value Pebax based midsole wonders. I've been enjoying a lot of their shoes recently and so have you guys off the back of some of my reviews. I know you've had similar experiences, so fingers crossed that they still keep producing those great value shoes. It looks like Adidas could be content in receiving only 1.8 billion for the sale of the Reebok brand. Seems like the pandemic has lowered their price expectation that they might receive for selling it. I think over recent years a number of Reebok stores have closed and lots of licensing deals that they did have just been left to expire without renewal. I think overall revenues for both brands, Adidas and Reebok, have dropped over the last few months. I know online sales have increased, but I think in terms of stuff away from running, some of those revenues are down considerably. Some sad times there. Let's just hope that Reebok's put into the right hands and it can flourish. Story 2 is centered around a story I read in Women and Home magazine, because you know that's a magazine I read quite often. It was all about the longevity of running shoes, and that was what interested me. They reckon that if somebody's running about 20 miles a week, you could expect to get around 400 to 500 miles out of your running shoes. I think it's quite a large range to say there, 400 to 500 miles. Yeah, it's a 100-mile range. I think all running shoes are very, very different. They all break down at different rates. Does that mean if you double up and you're doing about 40 miles a week, then it's the same level of wear, or does it lessen the longevity? Aside from that, they do recommend examining your running shoes on a frequent basis. That's something I do a lot, so I understand where they're coming from there. By doing that, you can answer questions such as, has the lockdown changed in the shoe? Has the upper gotten very baggy or loose? I think that assessing outsole wear though is quite a dangerous game when you're thinking about the longevity of a running shoe. I think midsoles wear out much quicker than the outsoles on most running shoes. It might look pristine underneath, but the midsole might have lost all of its magic. One thing people do often forget to check though with their running shoes is how the insoles are holding up. Ask them a few questions perhaps. Are they okay? You know, it's okay not to feel okay, right? So an easy change there really. You can switch out, get some new insoles and breathe a little life perhaps into your shoes. Another thing they suggested was making sure that you dry your shoes naturally, so don't put them on a heater. Please don't do that. They should be left to dry naturally over time. It will make EDDBUD very happy if you do that. So lots of interesting information in that article. I thought it was one I should let you know about. Story 3. Always sad to report, another half marathon event has been postponed. The organisers of the Cardiff Half Marathon have taken the very sad decision to have to postpone it for a second time. Or is it a third time? It was due to take place in March of 2021, but they've now pushed that right back to October 2021. Run for Wales said they just found it impossible to try to organise the event and get everything in place ready for March with the current instability surrounding the virus. I think they do hope to run some smaller events in the build-up to that October 2021 half marathon. Let's not forget that the Cardiff Half Marathon is actually the third largest running event in the UK. Obviously London Marathon top and then the Great North Run second. This one's a huge earner for charities, so it's a real blow to have it once again postponed, but I think we can all understand why. I think this is another event that's been postponed in a very worrying trend that we've seen over the last few weeks. Some events now being postponed 2 or 3 times. You're not sure whether the event perhaps you want to enter is from the year before or whether there'll be any places anyway if they defer the entries. We could end up, I suppose, with a situation where when we are allowed to get back to racing and there are fewer restrictions, hopefully that sometime in the future, that we might not be able to enter those events. Let's hope things do work themselves out though for this very long established event. Story 4. So the mango versions of the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent and the Alphafly Next Percent are finally launched over in the US. I know when I launched my video over a week or so ago, you guys in the US all said,
Ed, we haven't got them here yet.
Well, sounds like you've finally got your hands on them. Over here we can still buy the Next Percent. It's readily available. It's really strange. This did lead me to think about just how many people are utilising them at championship events. For example, there was recently a half marathon championship event in Poland. So, what did people wear? A quite frankly insane 80% of the 117 runners at that event wore a Nike shoe. Were they paying all of those runners to wear those shoes, or did they just choose to, off their own backs? The Vaporfly Next Percent was the most popular of the shoes, with 43% of the finishers wearing those Vaporweave Wonders, and the 21% of those poor people bringing up the rear in the Alphafly Next Percent. So of the remaining 36% of the runners, what did they wear? The Adidas Adizero Adios Pro was the next most popular shoe, with 12% of the 117 runners wearing that one. It might be that they just couldn't get a hold of that shoe, because it does seem to be quite rare and difficult to acquire. Less than 7% of the runners that day wore a non-carbon plate shoe, so that's 93% of the 117 runners wearing carbon plate models. 7 people actually wore the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit, which is one more person than wore the Asics Meta Racer. So as you can see from all of that Nike still have a real strong hold on the half marathon event at championship level. The overwhelming majority all going for a Zoom X based shoe. Okay, that's all the running news for this week. A quick musical interlude for you. I dug back out my vinyl copy of George Thorogood and the Destroyers' debut album. I managed to pick this up for, I think it was about £2 or £3 a while back. It's such a great blues rock album. I really love the Madison Blues. It's got such a great groove to it, and their version of Ride On Josephine is spot on. But I think the track everybody knows from this album is One Scotch, One Bourbon, One Beer. What a great tune. Any time that I've got an opportunity to stick this vinyl on, it's always a pleasure. Just seems to have a much more gritty and real sound. I think those first 2 or 3 George Thorogood and the Destroyers albums, they got a little bit too clean and the production wasn't really to my taste a little further down the line. This one's a real winner, so go and check it out if you can. Okay, thanks for sticking with me to the very end of the video, guys. I very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when we launch those new videos. It does help the channel out a huge amount if you please give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you